Two of the most fascinating figures in the film world on a personal level are David Lynch and Werner Herzog. There are no two filmmakers more eccentric and idiosyncratic, both in their films and in their public personas. Nobody can match the absurdity of Werner Herzog interviews, aside from David Lynch, and vice versa.
And nature here is vile and base. I wouldn't see anything erotical here. I would see fornication and asphyxiation and choking and fighting for survival and growing and just rotting away.
This idea was born that I would try to pronounce WMM's full username with cinema lovers' panties in my mouth.
Nobody cares about my films. For example, what was that?
I think when people are shooting at
We quickly realised that some wacko had taken a pot shot at us with an air rifle, and Herzog had been hit.
First of all, I'd like to introduce my boys. This is Chucko, and this is Buster, and this is Pete. I'm David Lynch, and this is Bob, and this is Dan.
The trees here are in misery and the birds are in misery. I don't think they sing, they just screech in pain.
I'm really looking forward to this. So if you could give me your panties now, and we'll get going.
and there was a noise and it was a whiz, and you just said, "I've been shot." Look, you're bleeding.
I think here somewhere. Yeah.
Look, I mean, that's somebody shot at you and created a wound in your abdomen.
It's not significant.
These guys aren't just a bunch of goofballs. They know that there's plenty of suffering in the world.
I didn't mean to eat this shoe in public. I intended to eat it in the restaurant because it should be an encouragement for all of you who want to make films and who are just scared to start and who haven't got the guts. So you can follow a good example.
Thank you very much. They're still warm. Okay, now, they're very warm, as a matter of fact, cinema.
I do understand French, but I refuse to speak it. It's the last thing I would ever do. You can only get some French out of me with a gun pointed at my head.
And they spent many years with little iron hooks in their backs up on Sunset Boulevard. And but they tell me that there's this all-pervading happiness underneath everything. And the more time I spend with them, the more I believe it.
When you're out in the countryside and you see chicken, try to look a chicken in the eye with great intensity. And the intensity of stupidity that is looking back at you is just amazing. I was taken prisoner in Africa, and drunk soldiers on a truck, all of them 15, 16 years old, some of them 8, 9 years old, and I mean really scared. One pointing a gun here, Kalashnikov, another one here and another one there. Captain of them shouts at me, "On ne parle français ici." Here we are speaking French, so I had to say a few things in French. I regret it. Shouldn't have done it.
These are, I'm going to keep these panties if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
By the way, it's very easy to hypnotize a chicken. They're very prone to hypnosis.
On top of being beautifully weird dudes, Lynch and Herzog are two of my favorite filmmakers. If you check out my big top 250 films of all time list, you'll find plenty of films from both of them on there. These similarities had me saying over the years how I wished that Werner Herzog and David Lynch had collaborated at some point in their careers. And I kept saying this all without realizing that they actually did collaborate just a single time on 2009's My Son, What Have You Done? This film had actually been on my watch list for years, and I knew that Herzog directed it. What I didn't realize was that Lynch produced it. And let me tell you right up front, you can tell that Lynch was involved and had an influence on the film.
Razzle them, dazzle them, razzle, dazzle them.
Excuse me.
It's no wonder that I wasn't aware of this collaboration, because nobody talks about this film. And I think that's a damn shame, because My Son, What Have Ye Done is a film that I believe deserves more respect. My Son, What Have Ye Done, which I'll be referring to as just My Son for short, because I think I find it amusing to say Willem Dafoe is in My Son. The film is based on the true story of a guy going nuts and killing his mother with a sword, seemingly as an extension of a role that he performed in a play in which his character killed his mother. The fiction became non-fiction, and in turn became fiction again with My Son. In a narrative with a different construction, that information could be considered a spoiler, but in My Son, the murder happens before the film even begins, with the plot instead focusing on the police and SWAT standoff with him after the fact, as well as on the flashbacks that scratch at some sense of elucidation as to the man's motives and his deteriorating mental state, along with the events that led up to his inner collapse. Just like the film's tagline says, it's not about who, it's about why. If you're anything like me, a plot about a modern times dude committing matricide with a sword that attempts to probe his psyche, that's enough to get you in the door. Add a stacked cast with the likes of Michael Shannon, Willem Dafoe, Brad Dourif, Chloe Sevigny, Udo Kier, and Grace Zabriskie, and it might jump straight to the top of your watch list. Add in Lynch as a producer and Herzog as the director and co-writer, and it's a surefire hit, right? Well, no. My Son landed with a disappointing thud. It was one of two films that Herzog released in 2009, with the other being Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans, which also featured Shannon and Dourif. That was the Herzog film from 2009 that nabbed all the attention. It's the flashier, weirder movie. But don't let that convince you that My Son isn't weird as fuck too, because it most certainly is.
A Greek play. Well, the only thing that Greeks know how to play with is each other's balls.
I've seen him. I've seen God. Ever since I was a child, I knew he was very close. Right here in the house.
Where?
In the kitchen. This is him. This is God. This is what he looks like. See?
Ay, 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 ay.
Unfortunately, My Son went under the radar, whether it was because it was overshadowed by the other Herzog joint released that year, or due to people just not getting it. It's fairly underrated and more so underseen. It didn't make the splash that it should have. It only has 16,000 watches on Letterboxd, which might sound like a lot if you aren't familiar with the site, but that's the same number of watches as this shitty straight-to-Redbox Nick Cage movie that nobody saw. My Son has even fewer ratings on IMDb, with just 11K. And there are only 539 ratings and just 43 reviews on Criticker. And to top it all off, My Son is rotten on both the critic and audience sides of Rotten Tomatoes. Once again, proving that Rotten Tomatoes is a terrible way to judge the quality of anything. Let's take a quick peek at those negative reviews. J.R. Jones of the Chicago Reader said, quote, "What they deliver is the sort of fake mysticism that usually ensues when secular individuals try to plumb the depths of religious faith." Okay, so this is a religious film critic who didn't like that the movie wasn't Jesus-y enough. That is a stupid way to critique a film. Let's see what else there is. The Daily Express said, "More like a bad dream than a good film." Well, yeah, it is like a bad dream. I would agree with that. But it's intentional and a good thing. I mean, whatever. That review, fair enough. Andy Lowe of Total Film said, "It's like Psycho remade by Ed Wood." What? The film has nothing in common on any level with Psycho, let alone Ed Wood. That is a bizarre take. What, any movie about a crazy guy is a Psycho remake? Come on, get real.
Get real.
Prairie Miller of Purple Revolver said, "Both baffling and mystifying." That sounds great. The film details a descent into madness with God in a boombox, worshipped oatmeal boxes, and the designated lunatic's proclaimed mantra. That also sounds great. What's the problem here? And Prairie Miller of Newsblaze said, "Both baffling and mystifying. The film details the descent into madness with God in a boombox, worshipped oatmeal boxes." Hang on, that's the same review. Same critic, same review, different outlets. Are you stuffing the ballot box against My Son, Prairie? Anyway, who cares what all those people say? My Son is great. It's as weird as you would hope for from a Herzog x Lynch collaboration.
Mr. McCallum, what is this?
It's a flamingo that slammed into a tree.
And it bears many of both of their hallmarks. Lynch brought along Joanna Ray, his usual casting director, so there are plenty of familiar Lynch faces. Grace Zabriskie is one of those quintessential Lynch performers who just always nails exactly what he's going for. This was around the time of Inland Empire.
Brutal fucking murder.
She is fantastic in her role as Michael Shannon's mother in the flashbacks pre-slaying. The way she just lingers in silence is so perfect.
You know how he is.
And actually, lingering in silence is commonplace for my son. Characters holding still, either in total silence or while music plays, is something of a motif throughout the film. And it's as entrancing as it is surreal. There are points where it honestly feels like the actors are getting uncomfortable waiting for Herzog to call cut, and it's beautiful.
Cantava, ay, 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 gemía. Ay, 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 ay. Cantaba de pasión mortal, moría.
And music in general is used in fascinating ways to create a cohesive tone and style for the film's off-kilter world. And that off-kilterness doesn't just lend to the general strangeness. It also adds greatly to the film's sense of humor.
I don't mean to alarm you, Miss Goodmanson, but it's all a little strange. You see, he's claiming his name is Farouk and shouts about God and tosses oatmeal at us. It's all a little confusing.
Just like many of Herzog's projects, and I think all of Lynch's projects, my son is funny. It's, damn funny. If you aren't accustomed to their senses of humor, some of the funny moments here might go right over your head, or you might laugh at them but find yourself wondering whether they're intentionally or unintentionally funny. But have faith, the comedy is very much intentionally.
Mr. McCallum! May I call you Brad?
You can call me Brad!
Or at least most of it is, if not all of it. Probably all of it. It's hard to know anything for certain with these two.
Do you mean to leave it here?
Yeah. I'm hoping some young future player will find it.
And honestly, I think that's where I'll leave this one so that you can go in and experience the rest of the film for yourself. Check it out, and if you're interested in another Lynch-adjacent project, there's another video in my Deserves More Respect series about Boxing Helena, directed by his daughter, Jennifer Lynch. If you enjoyed this video and the other things I put out, you can support the channel on Patreon, which gives you access to early videos and bonus videos that will never be released on YouTube. So for now, so long.